This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Thursday, September 8th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, U.S. Labor Day holiday air passengers exceed 2019 levels. The TSA screened about 8.76 million airline passengers over the Labor Day weekend, which was last weekend, this year, a number that surpasses 2019's pre-pandemic levels. This is notable because airline travel numbers have collapsed over the course of the pandemic, and airline companies have struggled to stay financially aloft during a period of ever-shifting mandates, economic circumstances, and supply chain issues that have complicated every aspect of their industry. Summer travel was down by about 16% this year across the U.S., and some analysts say they expect travel numbers to continue to grow, despite Labor Day usually being the cutoff for the country's travel season, in part because of people scrambling to make up for lost time after not traveling for a while, and in part because of new commitments by airlines to provide various sorts of compensation to travelers whose travel plans are disrupted by a late or canceled flight. From the Washington Post, material on foreign nations' nuclear capabilities seized at Trump's Mar-a-Lago. In the wake of an FBI search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence, sources have told the Washington Post that some of the seized documents were so top secret that only a handful of people could be made aware of them, including at least one that describes a foreign government's military defenses and nuclear capabilities. I've been trying to avoid beat-by-beat reporting on this story, as a lot of what's been written is just scandalized regurgitation of the same general facts and analysis. But this update is notable in part because it could support the claim that Trump and/or his people have violated espionage-related laws, which would be a big deal, and because it comes hot on the heels of what would seem to be a decent-sized victory for Trump's legal team, as a federal judge granted their request for a third-party reviewer of the seized documents called a special master, which could make some of those documents inadmissible as legal evidence against him, and either way will likely slow down progress on the case the Department of Justice is building against the former president. And from New Atlas, Rocket Lab's recycled booster engine fires flawlessly after ocean landing. Following the reclamation of a spent rocket booster last May, space company Rocket Labs has successfully reused the refurbished booster after it splashed down in the ocean. This achievement makes Rocket Labs one of just a handful of companies to have successfully reused a core rocket component, the most well-known of which is SpaceX, and it was able to do so via a different approach than SpaceX utilizes. This is considered to be a big deal because reusing rocket components makes launches far cheaper, and as Russia becomes a less viable launch partner because of their military and geopolitical activities, the industry is rife for more commercial competition at a moment in which more entities than ever want to launch their own satellites. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.